Your Los Angeles Rams sitting at 2-0 heading to the Philadelphia Eagles, who are also 2-0 for some Week 3 action. Lincoln Financial Field, 10 a.m. kickoff time. This game will be on Fox with Joe Davis, Greg Olson on the call. On your screen right now is the distribution map. Rams will be sitting in the red zones for this one, so actually a really solid area. We did anticipate that this would be a decent-sized area for this matchup, just given the situation. The Rams and Eagles playoff game was maybe one of the better, probably the best playoff game, I think, last season. And I maybe I'm a little biased there. I'm not, pointing out any, no AFC matchups are really sticking out in my head for this one. But honestly, this game being an early window kickoff, I think is a little bit unfortunate. I know that some people, Tuna mentioned it this morning on the Tuna and the Sheriff podcast, that he likes this game being early. Just get up, get it out of the way. Let's go. Let's roll, And I disagree. I think this is blatant primetime action. I think this one needs to be under the lights for sure. The fact that this will just be probably sunny. I actually didn't check the weather for this one yet. That it'll probably just be nice. That's kind of weird. You know what I mean? But either way, I actually do like this game being early season, so we didn't get burned on some more weather in this one, because it really did feel like that last game. The Rams did, to me at least, maybe felt like the better team, but then you get that weather in there, then you get a couple of explosives out of the Philadelphia Eagles, and they were able to just close it out. For you bettors, the Rams are plus 3.5 for this one, plus 150 on the money line, 44.5 for your over-under. They're giving the Rams about 20.5 points and the Eagles about 23.5, so it really is a bit of a coin toss in this one. That is the situation where anything can happen. So obviously, games aren't played on paper, obviously, so you got to get that action in there. And lucky for us, Philadelphia Eagles fans absolutely love Jared Verse, so that should be A-okay. We're going to have a good time there. Let's get into our pants picks here, as Rams will be in the royal uniforms for this one, and almost a clean sweep here with the soul pants. Myself, Peo, and Rams House going with the soul pants, but Tuna has to throw a wrench into those gears, obviously, like he does, and he's going with the royal combo. So the royal on royal combo is Tuna's pick. We'll see how it shakes out. We'll probably have that probably tomorrow on Thursday is when we've typically been seeing the combination. We also might have to start throwing in some socks here, dude, because socks are a thing as well that they, announce. This is the NFL in 2025. You get sock announcements. It's a very big deal. Very big deal. History of this matchup. This is the 47th all-time meeting between the Rams and the Eagles. The Eagles do lead the all-time series 25-20-1 against the Rams, so 5 more wins. And if we're looking at regular season all-time versus the Eagles, the Rams are 18-23-1. Of course, with that tie not being a playoff game, of course. But the Rams at the Eagles all-time. Eagles lead that series 16-10. And Eagles have won 9 of the last 10 matchups against the LA Rams. So and that even creeps into St. Louis, actually. So the Rams win of that stretch come in 37-19. That was in September of 2020. Definitely remember that game. That was an absolute blast. I think Higbee went off for 3 touchdowns in that one. Good times, man. That was a fun game. I think it was week 2 or maybe it was a week 3 as well, man. I know it was early season. I remember watching that one. That was COVID year, so it was all weird. I just remember I have this image, and I don't know why this of all the whole 2020 season, the thing that sticks into my head the most is Tyler Higbee scoring a touchdown against the Philadelphia Eagles and then dancing, and there's nobody in the crowd. And I just feel like that's such a weird image, I guess, in my brain, that I just remember Higbee just doing this weird little dance thing, and there's just nobody there. That's so awkward to me. I don't know, man. That's first year of SoFi. This one's the Nat SoFi, but crazy times, man. But in the last 10, the Rams have only won 1 time against the Philadelphia Eagles, so it feels like we're due. You know what I mean? Let's turn that tide a little bit. Let's get that little bit more into our favor, because before these last 10, the Rams are leading the all-time series against Philadelphia, who we also have, by the way, a very interesting trade history with, if you are not aware. Roman Gabriel, we've got Ron Jaworski, we've got the Sam Bradford, Nick Foles trade. Lots of crazy stuff. We were actually talking about that at the bar this last week of how many times we've traded quarterbacks to the Eagles. It's crazy, man. Who knows, man? Maybe their next quarterback is Stetson Bennett or something like that. Stet Benatar out here. But the first ever game between these two, that was a 21-3 win for the Rams. That came on September 21st, 1937. This was the second Rams game in their history, and their first win of all time came against the Philadelphia Eagles. The most recent game between these two, though, coming in the playoffs just earlier this year, but last season, happened on January 19th of 25, 22-28 for the Eagles, and absolutely crazy game. I feel like I've watched that game probably 6 times over the offseason, and there's so many things that stick out as far as, like, if that would have changed, man, the Rams win that game and then move on, and the way that the Eagles left that game and absolutely just destroyed the Commanders and then beat the butt cheeks off the Chiefs. It was just one of those where it's like, it just felt like if the Rams could have pulled off a block, in that last drive, or just getting a tackle, man. Don't let them absolutely explode for a huge run there. Then the Rams are maybe, going on, and not just going on, but winning the Super Bowl is kind of what it felt like, at least for Rams fans. And you also get the Kyren fumble. There were so many turning points there where that's why I say that I think that the Rams played better. It was just, it really was like 3, 4, 5 things that decided the game. And that is the case for most NFL games, in fairness. But looking back at that one, yeah, the Kyren fumble, then the Saquon run, and then the Bo Limmer missing those blocks on Jalen Carter for the last 2 offensive plays of the Rams season. That is just, those 3 things was like, dang it, man. Like, we were right there, man. And it seemed so close to be able to do that. But also, I mean, you take that Saquon run, and that directly impacted how the Rams treated their offseason, bringing in Poona Ford and Nate Landman. So hopefully the Rams can take that loss and the mistakes that were made in that game. And it seems like at least they've at least made a push to correct those issues on their roster this season. And hopefully it pays off in this matchup. And this is a very good test for the Rams. Maybe probably the best test for the Rams so far. Although, I mean, we got to give Houston absolutely credit. I think that they're a very good football team. Obviously, they're 0-2, but their defense is absolutely great. I think they're only giving up 14 a game, which obviously that's pretty solid. Houston Texans, very solid team, though. Tennessee Titans, I think they played a little bit better than I expected last week. But, obviously, biggest test here against the Philadelphia Eagles. Colts are no slouch. 49ers, we know about them. Baltimore after that, then Jacksonville. I mean, it's a tough stretch. Every NFL team's a good football team, so hopefully we can kind of, settle it down and handle our business on our own. So, but this is probably the best matchup of the week. I kind of talked about it earlier. This absolutely deserved to be in a primetime slot, whether that was TNF, SNF, or MNF. I mean, it needed, in my opinion, to be in one of those slots. Rams at Eagles, obviously, it just seemed like that was such a big game last year in the playoffs, and it came down to the end, not like most playoff games didn't last year, and it just seemed like putting this week 3 in an early window did feel like a miss on the from the schedule makers standpoint. But either way, still going to get some high flying action for this one. And I guess there is a little bit of that with Tuna saying that, like, he wants it early, just get it out of the way, we're good. I guess I'm going to take that approach too, because we can't change the time slot. It's not like it's going to get bumped to the night or anything like that. So I guess that's what I'm going to just kind of go into it with. But of course, the Eagles knocked the Rams out of the playoffs last year. Incredible game, snow game. First half was decent, and then really picked up in the snow. I just have this sweet image of Jared Verse just doing the in the snow. It's like implanted in my brain. Then there's also a picture that I really like of Matthew Stafford. He's like doing something like this, but it just looks cool, man. It's like man, that's my quarterback. That's my quarterback. But definitely probably the most entertaining game of the 24 playoffs, I would say. So obviously, Eagles would go on to win the Super Bowl, blowing out their next 2 opponents. Rams fans definitely felt like they were the better team. I know I did, and just one of those things. Just an unfortunate kind of situation. But both teams coming in this year, obviously 2-0 for both teams right now, with a win on the road and a win at home for each. The Rams have only played AFC opponents, while the Eagles have defeated the Cowboys as well as the Chiefs in that Super Bowl rematch. Chiefs, though, may not be. They've lost their swag, I think. It's like Austin Powers losing his mojo. Chiefs have lost their swag, man. So I don't know. I don't know how impressive that is yet. Cowboys, too. I think that they're kind of a bummer this year. I think that mostly they'll be a bummer this year. Chiefs have kind of lost their swag. So are the Eagles real dope? As we're about to find out. We're also, I think, in my opinion, we're the best team that Philadelphia has seen so far as well. So I think that's something to think about. As far as milestones go, I only wrote one down for this because I think it's rather exciting that Matthew Stafford needs just one touchdown pass to tie Matt Ryan for 9th most in NFL history, which is absolutely awesome. So obviously 2 takes him into 9th by himself. There is a little bit of a gap to 8, so we'll get to that when the time comes. But right now, he's Matthew Stafford obviously sitting at number 10 all time. Could creep into number 9 with even an okay game. So that's good news. I was looking through the Eagles roster here, trying to find some connections, some former Rams that are on the Philadelphia Eagles, and I found one, and it's a depth guy, actually listed on the unofficial depth chart as a third stringer, Obadiah Okoronkwo, the Oklahoma product, Obo. He's like a depth rotational piece. May be inactive on certain weeks, considering his positioning on the depth chart there, but I think that ultimately what I'm looking at here is that Obo is the only one. Coaches no, and then no other players except for Obo there. So matchup in this one. So we're looking at the Rams offense going against the Philadelphia Eagles defense. The Rams total offense 7th in the NFL, 382 a game, going against the 8th ranked total defense in the Eagles, 307.5. Passing the football, Rams top 10 unit here, 8th overall, 257 a game, and the Eagles are 180.5. That is also top 10 unit, 8th in the NFL. Running the ball, Rams are putting up a little over 110 a game. That's dead center in the league, 16th, and Eagles, this is kind of where their downfall on defense is, giving up 120 a game. That ranks 21st in the NFL. Average points being put up, Rams are at 23.5. That's tied for 11th, and the Eagles giving up 18.5. That is 12th in the league. And then third down, Rams doing killer here, top 5 unit, 48%, and the Eagles, this is definitely a struggle spot for them as well. 47.8 is what they're giving up, so almost even there, but that's tied for 25th in the league. As we take a look at the Eagles roster, obviously plenty of guys to pinpoint on the defensive side. Starting with Jalen Carter. He only has played last week so far, as he had 3 quarterback hits on Mahomes, 1 TFL as well. But this is the guy who effectively ended the Rams season in the playoffs last year, right there at the very end. But with Coleman Shelton now at center, this could be the game where it becomes obvious that the center position has improved. We love Limmer. I love Limmer. You love Limmer. We all love Limmer. But this is an improvement. And I think that this week is going to be a very clear cut, like, yes, we improved at this spot. So that's what I'm looking for. I think that another game where we can kind of pinpoint Coleman Shelton, kind of picking out assignments pre-snap, and then just watch him when the ball's snapped. I think he's doing an absolutely incredible job. But Jalen Carter, obviously we know who he is, what he's capable of, so definitely somebody to look out for. Next up, we'll go Zach Bond. 15 total tackles, 11 solo, 1 TFL on the season so far. Obviously an extremely solid inside linebacker. He runs the defense, you know what I mean? So he's a 2024 Pro Bowler. Bond, definitely one of the more solid linebackers in the NFL. When there was some talks about him maybe not returning to Philadelphia before the Rams got Landman, he was definitely a name that I was pinpointing of, like, that would be a player to bring over. And I just thought that would be interesting as well, having the team that knocked you out of the playoffs kind of, making that move, signing one of their guys to kind of like even that playing field a little bit. But obviously, Nate Landman, more than happy with that, probably even happier with that, honestly, the way that he's already playing, the way he's already impacted the Rams defense. But it's only his second year in Philadelphia after spending 4 years in New Orleans. Bond, though, he's absolutely killing it. Cooper DeJean, second year corner, just 1 pass defended so far on the year. But we'll be spending time, of course, on Whittington as well as Tutu, as he is more of a nickel guy. But he could also be getting some reps against 17 and 12, as the Rams definitely set you up to need to cover those guys with your nickels as well, and sometimes your linebackers. Sorry for you, dude, but you got to figure out your matchups there. Anytime you have a linebacker on Puka Nacua, you're going to have a bad time, all right? You can't be pizzaing right there, man. You're going to have a bad time. So, obviously, though, Cooper DeJean, very, very solid player. He's really good, man. I mean, it's a tough battle for him this week, but it's also a tough battle for the Rams going against these corners, so it kind of works there, you know what I mean? And Cooper also lost Jared Verse for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Sorry about it, dude. He was also behind Braden Fisk. Sorry about it, dude. But in fairness, I'll give it to him. Quinyon Mitchell was technically second. We're not mentioning here. Because why? This is I wrote the show. Your best one-on-one for this matchup specifically is going to be Coleman Shelton versus Jalen Carter. Coleman, he is effectively on the Rams roster because of Jalen Carter. If Jalen Carter doesn't blow those up, do we even go after Coleman Shelton, or do we just roll with Limmer going into his second year? I don't know, man. I tend to think that the reason Coleman Shelton's here is because of Jalen Carter. So this being the matchup in week 3 is exactly why I'm saying, like, this is it. We get to see now why Coleman is back because of this exact situation. Carter got through to Stafford on the last 2 offensive snaps of the Rams' 24 season. Of course, the sack and then the incompletion that was intended for Puka that went out of bounds, which is also the most unfortunate part about that. It's like, I feel like if at least the ball falls in the field of play, then it's like, I can accept that a little bit more, but the fact that it went out was like, didn't even get a chance at it, man. The second it was out of Stafford's hand, it was over, and that's a bummer. So, but Coleman Shelton, he may not pop on like Sundays, like when you're watching the game, he may not pop off the screen to you. But I'll say if you're an analyzer and doing the alt 22s and really paying attention to the inner workings of how the offensive line is rolling and stuff, Coleman Shelton's doing an incredible job. I think ultimately the Rams' offensive line is not on fire right now. I'm hoping that kind of starts to settle in as the season goes on. But Coleman, I think that being added back, I want to say this is his first time playing with Wendell, Rams' offensive line coach. I'd have to look at the overlaps there. I'm pretty sure that's true though. But Rams' offensive line, I think, is underperforming right now. And I'm looking for Coleman and the other leaders. You know what I mean? A.J. Jackson, Rob Havenstein, Kevin Dotson. Avila may or may not be in for this week, but I'm looking for these guys to really step up and start, showing why we're a sick offensive line, man. We won Offensive Line of the Year in 21. Obviously, that's a very different team now. The only one that's still here, Coleman back, and then Havenstein, of course. So, I don't know. I just want to see that unit kind of improve. That's where we need to see some improvement, especially if we want to get the ground game running. So, Coleman Shelton, definitely a big part of that. But Carter, coming off of his first game of the 25 season after some bogusness in week 1, that I think that we've coined the term the Daxident is what we're calling that one for week 1. Didn't even get a rep in, man. I mean, whatever. I'm not mad about it. Who cares? Coleman, though, versus Jalen, that's a fun trench battle. You'll probably hear about plenty this week with all the game previews that are going to be out there. This is going to be a conversation. Coleman Shelton versus Jalen Carter for sure. That's going to be quite the topic, but worth focusing when the game is live. It's going to be worth keeping your eyeballs on both these guys for sure. 3 to see for the Rams side on the offensive side of the football here. We're going to start with Davante Adams. Adams has arrived. It still feels like he's got so much untapped potential in this Rams offense, though, and that should only be exciting. You know what I mean? Like, we want to get that rolling, but it takes some time, and there's also plenty of games to go still. So he broke 100 for the first time as a Ram, broke 12K on his career, and I think we just need that graphics department to go ahead and keep that 13K image ready to roll. Just keep that one locked and loaded, dude, because I feel like by like week 11, we might need that. All right, so stay on it, graphics department. But the real reason I'm putting Adams here is because there is going to be a team that's, maybe it's the Eagles, but there's going to be a team that focuses more onto Puka Nacua and kind of is trying to take him away. Fortunately for the Rams, you try to take away one of these guys, the other one's just super dope. So can just light you up any way you choose, I guess. You know what I mean? But so far we've seen Ladarius Sneed as well as Derek Stingley travel with Davante Adams. Teams are not wanting to let Davante Adams burn him up, and there's going to be a team that's like, well, we can't let Puka put up 130 on us like that, you know what I mean? And then that's going to open up Davante. I don't know if anybody has the corners to truly take both of these guys away, and even if so, really love Whittington, really like Tutu. I mean, our tight ends are super sick, so there's a lot of good to be said there, but I say that the reason I put Davante here is because there is going to be a team that, instead of putting all of their attention on Davante, is going to put that attention onto Puka, which is going to open it up for Davante. And it does kind of feel like this might be the week that happens. Just saying. But the secondary of the Eagles and Puka's hot start, it just feels like this could be the week where we see more doubles on 12 than 17, Next up, 3 to see is going to be Davis Allen, the general. He has arrived, dude, and it feels like it can't be real, right? Is it? Is Davis Allen the Rams' best tight end? I don't know, man. I don't know. He might just be. Play calling would certainly suggest it. I would say snap percentage doesn't necessarily tell us that, as Higbee is still getting the majority of the tight end snaps. Last week, Higbee had 46 reps. Allen had 25. But Stafford's finding him, dude. Stafford's finding him. Back-to-back weeks with a touchdown reception for Davis Allen. Absolutely love to see it. And I'm going to convince Tuna to give us a Davis Allen all-22 breakdown. So look out for that. Be on the lookout. I'm sending that to Tuna. It's done. Tuna, all-22. I need Davis Allen. I need the general, man, on a 22. Let's get that done, dude. But he's playing good football, man. Davis Allen is. And whoever is our best tight end, I just hope they keep it up. I hope they keep kicking everybody's butts. I think it's awesome. So no word yet on what's keeping Ferg off the field. But I've got my own little conspiracy here, and that is that the Philadelphia Eagles are where one Terrence Ferguson gets unleashed. You know what I mean? So it's potential that could be a thing that the first few weeks that we kind of hold them a little bit back against some AFC opponents, but then we're just waiting for the right team. And it also, in fairness, could be San Fran in Week 5. If we don't see a lot of them here, then that's my new conspiracy. Switch my conspiracy from Week 3, we unleash Ferguson, to Week 5, we unleash Ferguson, all right? That's as simple as it is. Yeah. So, Davis Allen, though, might be the Rams' best tight end, and who knew? Who knew? Dude, that's crazy, man. We thought he was going to be number 4 on this depth chart. He might be number 1 in our hearts. So, we got that. Kyron Williams, next up on the 3 to see here. Williams has really yet to explode on any runs this season, but based on what I'm seeing, I will say that I do think it's possible this team is kind of missing Cooper Kupp's blocking. I think that that's absolutely a real possibility, that we could be those little cut-ins, man, some hitting the gaps in the middle there and kind of taking out somebody who wasn't expecting a wide receiver to take him out of the play. I do feel like we're kind of missing that a little bit. So I think that the Rams do need to make that adjustment here. But while the Eagles front is really solid, they're also giving up 120 on average on the ground. Against a Dallas team we've all agreed was only going to be decent through the air, and a Chiefs team, which they're supposed to have a super powerful offense, but do they? I mean, you got Travis Kelce out here just handing interceptions to corners and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't know how powerful they really are, but those are two teams that maybe weren't supposed to have this killer ground game, and they're giving up some yards. So I think it's absolutely possible that this is a game that the Rams can try to get that going a little bit more. And I also think it's a game that the Rams should focus a little bit more on the run, as you want to win time of possession against the Philadelphia Eagles if you can. I mean, it's a very tall task to be able to pull off winning time of possession against Philadelphia, but it's got to be an attempt. And in order to do that, you need to be able to run the football. I'm looking for Kyron in this one. So he's been in situations where he's gotten very close to breaking out, but it does feel like it happens at some point, but right now, the blocking is just not there. And Tuna definitely hit that on the all-22, talking about, Higbee getting blown back and stuff like that. And that just can't happen. You're not going to run the football when your blockers are sitting on their butt cheeks. That's just not how it works. So overall, though, obviously a really tough matchup for both teams, in fairness. The Rams have a strong offense. The Eagles have a strong defense. It's a really fun matchup to watch. But game planning going to be critical in this game. We got Sean McVay versus Vic Fangio. Fangio certainly capable of creating a game plan that can stifle that McVay offensive style. But we've also yet to have that, this is the Rams offense kind of moment. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like we've had that game yet, especially with the addition of Devontae Adams, where it just feels like we're firing on all cylinders. Even though the Rams are playing really, really good football on the offensive side, this is one of those games where it's like you have to take to that next level. You have to not make those mistakes, not make those like that silly interception that Stafford had in the first half last week, stuff like that. That kind of stuff has to be avoided this week. Just play good football, play smart football, and just get to third and short and convert. Third and short and convert. That's kind of how you beat Philadelphia right now, and just the way that they're really good. That's the thing, is they're really good. They win a lot of football games, but they're also the most boring team in the NFL to watch. And I know there's at least one, if any Eagles fans are seeing this, they're like, whatever, because that's literally my impression of Eagles fans, and I stand by that. But that's just one of those things where it's like, well, if you hate it, stop it. And it's like, I mean, this is entertainment. This is supposed to be entertaining. You guys are not entertaining. It's boring as hell to watch. You know what I mean? So either way, who am I? Let's flip over to the other side here. We got the Rams defense going against that Eagles offense. So the Eagles offense definitely not getting it done here as far as total yards or anything goes. 29th total offense in the NFL, 266.5 on the season so far, averaging. Rams top 6 unit here, 293 is what they're giving up per game. And 4th against the pass, giving up just 147 a game right now, which is absolutely awesome. And the Philadelphia Eagles not doing it a lot through the air, 119 a game, that's 31st in the NFL. The fact that there's somebody lower than that, bruh, wild. Rushing the football, this is where the Eagles definitely make their money. 140 a game, that's 7th in the NFL. Rams giving up 111.5, that's tied for 17th. This is the matchup to watch there, of course. Average points being put up, 22 a game for the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right in the middle of the road there, tied for 16th. Rams giving up just 14 points a game. That is first. And on third down, the Eagles are converting 48.1%. That is third in the NFL. And the Rams giving up 33.3. That is tied for 7th. So really, really good matchup there as well. But yes, that I don't anticipate that the Eagles are going to even really try to open up the air attack against the Rams, considering, too, that the Rams have done such a good job against the pass and also have just such a mean pass rush. And Jalen Hurts knows that firsthand, that that pass rush can get there, and it's a problem. So it's good news for us, though. But opposing players we want to keep our eyes on for the Eagles offense here. We're going to start with Lane Johnson. Lane will definitely, he's going to be responsible for blocking Byron Young, who is absolutely on fire right now, 3 sacks on the year. It turns out blocking Byron Young is very difficult. Who knew, dude? Who knew? We did, but, we got to let them think that we didn't know. Lane, though, obviously a very good tackle, veteran, he's going to need to handle Young and Verse, because Verse will travel over there as well. It's going to be quite the day, man. That's quite a problem to try to need to stop these guys all day long, but Johnson gave up the most last season to Jared Verse in the playoff game. That was definitely like a blip in his whole production. The whole season, absolutely killing it. Goes against Jared Verse, bloop, and then was fine again. But Jared Verse, absolutely, man, he can make some real strong guys look not strong. You know what I'm saying? He's absolutely incredible. Like I said before, though, if you judge a tackle's, if you judge a tackle by his ability to block Jared Verse, everybody's just gonna think he sucks. I used to say that about Aaron Donald all the time, where it's like, oh man, Aaron, that guy, he blew it against Aaron Donald. It's like, yeah, most people do. Like, that's not a big deal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, same thing with Jared Verse right now. It's like when you need 3 dudes to block Jared Verse, it's like, yeah, because one dude will embarrass him. He's gonna get embarrassed out there. So, got to do it, man. But Lane Johnson, obviously a very good player, veteran player, stuff like that. So, obviously, that's gonna be a fun matchup to watch, no matter who he's going against, whether that's Young, whether that's Verse, whether that's Stewart, whether that's Hampton. I think that's gonna be, excuse me, some very good action to check out. Next up, we'll go with Jalen Hurts. Hurts has not needed to do much through the air this season, but at 2-0, doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Win the game. That's the most important stat, right? That's the one you want. The win. You can have 400 passing yards. Awesome. But if you lose, then it's like, well, could have done more. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really matter. You just got to get those points and finish up the game. And Eagles are probably the best team at just keeping the clock running. They just hold the ball as long as possible. They're 29th in total yards. I think they're 4th in time of possession. Crazy. I don't really understand how it works, but I'm sure we'll find out this weekend, where it'll just be really frustrating. We've given up, some short yardage situations there, so getting off the field is going to be absolutely critical in this one, though. But if the Rams' run defense is truly improved, then this is the week to really show up and try to force Jalen Hurts to be the passer. You know what I mean? Like, if the Eagles' offense is forced to pass, we really don't know what they look like quite yet, at least this season. We don't know how powerful that can be. And with the way that they haven't necessarily had that much experience passing the football this year, it also could open up potential for turnovers this game and try to get some picks on Jalen Hurts. But speaking of the passing attack here, I'm going to go with A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown He's obviously the top target, and I'd imagine that while the winning does cure everything, there is certainly some wide receiver attitude that loves to get the football. They've only thrown for about 240 yards on the season. That is 50 yards less than Matthew Stafford had just last week. And Brown is certainly capable wide receiver. I mean, but Rams now down a corner. That certainly plays into it as well, losing to Kello Witherspoon. But if the Eagles are forced to pass, I think Brown could be in line for a decent day. But I also think that this Rams defense is going to be very strong against the pass for most of the season, depending on, staying healthy throughout the rest of it. And my best one-on-one here is going to be Jared Verse versus Jordan Mailata. So we saw this last season as well. And obviously, Jordan's a great player. Jared's a great player. So this is just a solid matchup there. These tackles, this offensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles, obviously really good. We're hoping that there are some referee meetings this week in what we saw with the that really lame play for the Eagles against the Chiefs last week. But you can look at it and you can see that the Eagles players are in the neutral zone, at least 3 of them, if not 4, or if not 5, all the offensive linemen just being all in the neutral zone. And then you got the false starts as well, 3 times doing that. I don't know about the Eagles fans too, because I know that Eagles fans are very all go Birds and all that, and then they'll just defend their team no matter what. But I feel like if this was the Rams doing something that was blatantly rough like that, I feel like I would kind of have a hard time with it. And I would at least admit it myself, and be like, yeah, we were moving early. They're probably going to start catching that. Hopefully not soon. At least acknowledgement, I think, is reasonable there. But hopefully we see that. And hopefully this Rams front now with Puna Ford as well as Nate Lamb. And hopefully we can stand up to that tush-push play and get it done. Speaking of Nate Landman, he's our first in our 3 to see. Our defensive quarterback, man. Nate Landman has showed up in the inside linebacker room. He's made such an impact already. It's absolutely awesome to see. Nate's worth keeping your eyes on both pre-snap and during action. Sometimes he's not necessarily in the middle, but then motions kind of dictate whatever too. Sometimes as well as formation, obviously. I think people forget that a lot too, that sometimes the way the defense's play unfolds, we may not even know what the actual call was or what somebody's assignment was. Because it's not like if you're in cover 3 and there's no one going deep, you're all your corners are back at the 20, just chilling, like this is my zone, I'm waiting. It's no, go cover somebody, So sometimes it just doesn't dictate to where we can see it. But Landman, obviously, he's doing such an incredible job. It's an interesting one this week with the production from the Eagles offense so far. But Landman, he's getting guys into position that's going to be critical this week, and going against such a powerful team, obviously we want to be able to shut that down, and it all starts with Nate. So that's who I'm looking at first. Next up, I'm going to give it to D-Will, Darius Williams. Akello, added to IR for a bit of, he's dealing with that broken clavicle. D-Will, though, stepped in week 2, had some really good plays there. There was that breakup that he had that I thought was absolutely awesome. Just, read the ball well, put himself in good position, and made a play, which we've grown accustomed to seeing D-Will do that. He's also got one of my favorite plays since returning to the Rams, since the Rams returned to LA, with that pick 6 against the Seahawks. That's one of my favorite plays that we've seen. That was bone on blue, too, the combo. And so I think that was one of the first times that we saw that, and it was yo, this is awesome, man. So that was fun times. I think that was the 2019? I think it was 2019 playoffs. Maybe I don't know. I don't remember. That's fine. I don't have to. Either way. But Darius Williams, obviously, coming in. He's been kind of noted as a starter. Didn't really play in week 1. Last week kind of got forced into action with Akello going down. So something we're watching for there is him covering A.J. Brown, obviously, who is appearing to get a little bit frustrated in the Eagles offense. He kind of mentioned it. It's winning's the thing as long as you win, right? And then that's kind of that's tough. Yeah, but also they're wide receivers. They want to play. Everybody wants to play. They want to get into the action and stuff. Next up here, we're going to go to Quentin Lake. There are multiple players who will play some sort of spy role this week against Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. Lake will certainly get his share of those reps as well. And he'll be critical in those situations, of course, as far as those short yardage situations, keeping out of those short yardage situations. Hurts getting the Eagles into 3rd and 4th and short is what ruins people, man. That's got to be avoided at all costs. Even on 3rd and 9, you can't give up 8, that's for sure, because then they may convert. But Lake definitely going to be getting his hands dirty in the box in this matchup, but as well as Curl. But I'm looking at the captain here to kind of rally the troops and get that rolling. But overall, the Rams' biggest key to victory against the Eagles is going to be time of possession. Get off the field on defense and hold on to the football on offense. The Eagles are terrible in yards per game, but incredible in time of possession. It's absolutely incredible. But some of this burden certainly going to fall on the offense, but I think the defense getting off the field early in drives and not letting it be 8 plays and then give up a field goal. It's like, no, let's get some 3 and outs here, man. Especially early in the game. Let's get some 3 and outs. Let's get the Rams offense the football. Keep Jalen and all those guys on the sideline. That's going to be your best bet. This game, of course, like I said, kicking off at 10 a.m. LA time on Fox. Rams will be in the red zone on the distribution map there with Joe Davis, Greg Olson on the call. Join us again on Friday morning on the First and Tuna podcast YouTube channel, as well as the Ram Showcase Facebook page, as we'll be live for Tuna and the Sheriff doing more of a game preview. And then I also have my pregame live streams that we'll get into on the Ram Showcase Facebook and YouTube channel. We're going to start doing giveaways. I think I can pull one off this week, but don't hold me to that. We'll see what happens. I will say if I do have a trivia question, you were given the answer during this game preview. Boom. And you have no idea. Ha! Crazy.